then we will be comparing these theories and parities. So let's just talk about it. So any question regarding interest rate parity? Fabian, you understand? Ping Ping, Lota, Crystal, Min, Haley, Not,
Yes, understood.
Delma,
Yes, understood.
right? Good. Okay, let's just talk about the purchasing power parity. Now, what does it mean? So there are two kinds of purchasing power parity. We also call this PPP or triple P. So one is absolute and the other one is relative. So basically the concept of purchasing power parity is that the basket of the product that you buy in your home country or if you buy in the foreign country, it is the same. So price of the same basket in one country and in other country is the same. If not same, then people have the opportunity to exploit how they will be buy from where they find cheaper. Simple. If it costs less to buy from outside world, they will buy from outside world. They don't buy from the home country. If your home country, is cheaper than the foreign country, then they will buy from home country. They won't buy from the foreign country, right? So purchasing power parity says, so the basket or the product you purchase in United States or the product you purchase in Eurozone or the product you purchase in UK, it is the same of same purchasing power. So let's just talk about it. Absolute means when you are free from any barrier or any consumer shifts in demand, right? Or when you have absolute things of when you know that, so every country has its own CPI index, consumer purchase index, in which they put necessary items for daily use, customer use, like flour, sugar, bread, fruits, daily consumption meat, not luxury meat, not the meat of the deer or something. It's like beef, mutton, chicken, right? So they create a basket to measure the inflation. I hope you learned this in macroeconomics, how you calculate the inflation. So they have a measure of a basket. So that basket must be equal to the other country's basket. So for example, if I compare Pakistan versus United States, so the consumer price index, so that basket which include bread, flour, sugar, or meat, fruits, so that basket is exactly equal to the basket that are used in the United States to calculate the inflation. So if that basket is equal, then we can say that there is no difference of purchasing power. Either you buy the same stuff in Pakistan or either you buy the same stuff in the United States. But this is a real world. In real world, the basket is not the same. For example, in China and in US, the basket is a little bit different. Why? Because Chinese, they like noodles, and the Americans, they like bread, right? So in that case, their basket is a little bit different. So Chinese consume less sugar, the Americans consume more sugar. So weightage of the basket over there is different. Weightage of the basket here in China, it is different. But the rate of change in the prices should be similar when we measure in common currency. So this kind of parity is called relative form of parity, relative form of purchasing power parity, right? So let's explore this further. So what does it mean? It says exchange rate adjustment is necessarily or is necessary for the relative purchasing power to be same whether buying products locally or from another country. So purchasing poverty says that whether you buy from your home country, whether you buy from foreign country, the purchasing power is the same. Why? Because exchange rate adjusts itself accordingly. right? So that's why in Pakistan, if this pen cost you 200 rupees, in United States it is $1.1. So if I convert this $1.1 back into Pakistani rupees, it is 200 rupees. So purchasing power is the same. So this is the theory behind purchasing power parity. So if the purchasing power parity is not equal, is not the same, the consumer will shift the purchases to wherever products are cheaper until the purchasing power is equal, right? So what does it mean? It means everything revolves around conversion. So for Americans, this pen is $1.1. It's very cheaper for them, right? For Pakistanis, it's $200. It is 200 rupees. So we think that 200 and 1.1, it looks like we are paying high money. But when we convert and this purchasing power parity holds true, then what happened? This 200 is equal to $1.1. So it's the same, right? So everything revolves around exchange rate. So purchasing power parity holds that the country who is experiencing high inflation, its currency will go down. So we are talking about, so many students, they confused regarding this. So this is foreign currency, the value of the foreign currency. So that's why it is written EF, foreign currency. So many students, they confuse and they confuse it with home currency exchange rate. So this is not the home currency exchange rate. So if in your country inflation is high, your currency will go down, foreign currency will appreciate. So that concept is very true here, holds true here, right? So the formula for purchasing power parity adjustment is that 1 plus inflation in home country divided by 1 plus inflation in foreign country minus 1. Or if you want to see the simplified relationship estimation, so home country's inflation minus foreign countries inflation, that the difference will be either appreciating the exchange rate or depreciating the exchange rate. Which exchange rate? Foreign currency exchange rate. So pay very close attention or very keen attention to this is the foreign currency exchange rate, price of the foreign currency. Understand? So about that concept, which we talked about in our earlier lectures, that if inflation is high, if inflation is high in home currency value go down, right? So it holds true. So if home currency value go down, foreign currency value appreciate. So this is the foreign currencies. Foreign currency value will appreciate, right? So we have a very nice video. Let's see that.
Purchasing Power Parity, PPP, compares different countries' currencies through a market basket of goods approach. Two currencies are in PPP when a market basket of goods, taking into account the exchange rate, is priced the same in both countries. PPP currency rates are considered more accurate than market exchange rates. Market exchange rates set on the foreign exchange market tend to be influenced by other factors such as government intervention, different interest rates, speculation trading, and hedging. PPP rates are determined by comparing the prices of identical items in different countries. PPP rates are often difficult to determine because of differences in purchasing habits among the citizens of different countries, unequal quality of goods in those countries, and differences in each country's economy. But once the PPP rate is determined, it remains relatively constant over the long run. PPP is often used to make more accurate comparisons between two countries' gross domestic product, GDP, than can be made when using market exchange rates. For example, let's look at two rival countries, Freonia and Controlia. Each country produces the same amount of goods in a given year. Thus, the GDP should be the same for each country. But because Controlia manipulates its currency on the world market, its currency is artificially high when compared to Freonia's currency. It takes 3 Frionia dollars to buy 1 Controlia pound. So using the market exchange rate to compare GDPs, it would look as if Controlia's GDP were 3 times the size of Frionia's when expressed in the same currency. Using the PPP exchange rate would eliminate this bias and show that the GDP for each country is the same.
So, right, you understand? So what we learned from interest rate parity and purchasing power parity is that interest rate parity says that wherever we invest, we will end up earning home country's interest rate, right? Because if we invest in foreign country, the forward premium will go up, right? The purchasing power parity says that whatever we buy, whether we buy from foreign country, whether we buy in home country, the price are relatively the same. Why? Because exchange rate adjusts itself and correct the imbalance, right? So let's just talk about the implications. So this is a question from your book, question 35, page 265. So let's talk about this question. So today's spot rate of the Mexican peso is $1, $0.1. Assume that purchasing power parity holds. The US inflation rate over this year is expected to be 7%, while the Mexican inflation over this year is expected to be 3%. So the Wake Forest Corporation plans to import from Mexico and will need 20 million Mexicans in 1 year. So determine the expected amount of dollars to be paid by Wake Forest Corporation for the peso in 1 year. So now you tell me, what did we talk about that the foreign countries exchange rate is approximately a difference of inflation in home minus inflation in foreign. So now we need to see that whether the Mexican peso will appreciate or depreciate. So let's see that. So in order to solve these kind of questions, you need to mark where you are. Are you in Mexico or are you in United States? So where are you? So Wake Forest Company plans to import from Mexico. It means you are here, right? So let's just see that. So inflation in home, how much? 7%. Inflation in foreign in Mexico, 3%. So Mexican peso will appreciate by approximately 4%, right? So this is the spot rate. So can you calculate the forward rate, or can you calculate the expected? No, so this is not the forward rate, sorry. So appreciate or depreciate. So spot rate will appreciate, yes, by 4%. So when they convert their money to get 20 million Mexican, how much they need? So first of all, the expected spot rate going to be 1 plus 0.04 multiplied by 0.1. Answer would be, so I would be showing you the answer here, right? So answer would be the spot rate, expected spot rate is going to be increased from 0.1 to 0.104. So remember, we just took estimation. The real formula is 1 plus home countries inflation divided by 1 plus foreign countries inflation minus 1. So this is